what I thought I would do is take you a little bit on the Coca-Cola journey of what's happening with the cloud, what's happening with mobile, what that means to the organization. And we'll talk a little bit about consumers. We'll talk a little bit about the IT organization. But it's our journey that we're on, and we've been on it for 4 years now, and we're making a lot of progress, but we still have a long way to go. The reason that I chose to open with this video is that the theme in here is about partnering. And when we started down the path, we realized that we had to partner with entrepreneurs, we had to partner with startups, we had to partner with people that we have traditionally not worked with in order to get to where we're going. You know, our data centers have looked always like this. These big rooms spread out across the world with lots of servers, lots of costs. They are using a lot of energy. But this is not going to get us to the future. As more and more people are connecting to us, and we saw in the video a minute ago, there's over 90 million Facebook fans. We're actually have the largest amount of Facebook fans in the world. In addition, we have another 130 million people that are part of our My Coke Rewards program. All of these people are interacting with us through mobile devices, through the cloud on a daily basis. We have to think differently. This old data center, which looks actually pretty nice with all lit up, just won't do it. So we've started down the journey to get ourselves to the cloud. And getting to the cloud has created a lot of challenges for the Coca-Cola company. There are regulatory issues, such as the recent decision by the EU to eliminate safe harbor, which means we can no longer take information stored in the United States for certain European countries. It means there are privacy issues that we have to face even in the United States for some of our customers as well. So between these issues regarding the privacy, between security aspects, we have to think different. So there are lots of challenges ahead. These are the challenges that we are dealing with every day and we have to deal with. We have a goal within the next 3 to 5 years to have about 75 to 80% of all of our computing environment in the cloud. And I don't mean in a private cloud, I mean in a public cloud. There's a lot of things that we have to do to get there, and the only way we can get there is by partnering with startups. Most of the major corporations today that we have historically dealt with do not have the technology, they do not have the capabilities to enable us to get to where we need to go as fast as possible. And when I talk about clouds, it's multiple clouds. Today, we are already using Google's cloud. The entire FIFA campaign that we had worldwide just a couple of years ago was run out of the Google cloud. The Olympics will be run out of the Google cloud. We have events like that are supporting the Super Bowl in the United States that are at the Amazon cloud. We're using CenturyLink. We're using Azure. The Coca-Cola company is using clouds everywhere. There is not one cloud that fits all. There are clouds that have very specific workloads. This is what we're trying to do. However, we still face challenges. We cannot move data easily between the clouds, between the different vendors. And so again, new technologies such as Docker and others are coming along that are going to make this easier. And these are coming again from startups. So the theme here is we really have to partner with the startups in order to get to the next generation. Many of you are with startups, many of you with some new entrant companies. We need to work with you. We need to be here to discover what's going on. But as more and more moves to the cloud, we now have moved from doing everything internally to cloud first. Cloud first means that we're going to buy the capabilities, such as software as a service. We're then looking at things such as platform as a service from companies like Heroku or Pagoda Box or others. We then start looking at what we can build. And we start building, we're starting to build all around the world and looking for people to partner with that understand clouds much better than we do. You know, the clouds are becoming more important because the world's becoming boundaryless and computing is becoming boundaryless. You know, there is never a time in our life at this point that we've had to deal with so many different devices, not just the mobile phones, the Internet of Things, all the sensors. In our factories alone, if you were to look at a single factory, there's over 13 trillion instructions that we have to deal with on an annual basis in one factory. We could never handle that information internally. Again, we have to go back to the cloud. We have over 700,000 employees that have mobile devices that we need to communicate with every day. There's over 250,000 trucks that have to communicate with us every day. All of this is mobile. All of this is changing the way the Coca-Cola company, the Coca-Cola system, thinks about technology and thinks about the future. Not to mention all of our consumers, all of our customers. You can buy Coca-Cola in every country of the world, with the exception of North Korea and Cuba's coming online very soon. But with all of these people, all these devices, all of this information, that leads us to a new challenge, and that challenge is dealing with the big data. There we go, cloud and big data. The company is new to big data. Now, we've had a lot of data for a long time. We have had terabytes and gigabytes and megabytes and petabytes of data over the years, but now we have to deal with unstructured data. We don't have the resources internally, we don't have the knowledge internally to build, to deploy, to maintain the type of technology that is required in order to leverage this information. We're moving from the era of demographics to the area of behavioral demographics, behavioral characteristics of how we're driving the interactions. We have machines called the Freestyle machine, for example. The Freestyle machine is built on medical microdosing technology. It will pour over 150 different drinks, all through cartridges that look like they came out of a printer. It has an interface. It's online, 24/7. It can interact with you through QR codes, which is the old way of doing things. It can interact with you by a phone app, again, the old way of doing things. Now we're looking at things such as facial recognition, so that the machine can recognize you and you can have a relationship with the machine. All of this is data. All of this has to be analyzed real time. We need to know what your preferences are. We need to know what you like, what you don't like, and it all has to go through the cloud. Again, this is part of our journey. We can't do this with that data center that we saw on the first slide. We have to do this by partnering with people. We do not have the skill sets. We do not have the data scientists. And what I'll tell you is most major corporations, if it's Coca-Cola or anybody else, we do not have the resources, and we can't compete with the Googles, the Facebooks, the Pinterests, the Ubers, the others that are employing all kinds of data scientists to create algorithms in order to propel their business forward. So again, we have to do this through partnering, and this is what we're doing, is going down that path. So mobile is encouraging more and more data. As I said, 13 trillion in one factory alone, with over 100 factories, we just can't get there. The Facebook fans, again, the 90 million Facebook fans, the 140 million fans that we have in our rewards programs around the world, all of the events that come in from the Super Bowl, we just can't deal with that data. We need help from people. We need ideas of how to deal with large amounts of unstructured data, structured data, semi-structured data. We've hired people to help us with this journey, but we need more. So we're really looking for people, and I'm looking for people as a CTO of the company to come forward with new ideas of how a corporation, a legacy corporation such as Coca-Cola, can partner with you in order to drive things forward. You know, this is a journey, but it's the only and it's the best chance for our future. We do not have the ability to go forth on our own, as I've been saying, but we have to work together to do this. And it's not going to be a linear line. Many times the history of IT has been very linear. We would always rely on Big Blue, we would rely on HP, we would rely on Dell, we would rely on other major corporations, and they could provide us that vision for the future. We were getting this from the analysts, from the Gartners, the Forresters, and others. Again, we can't do that. The world is changing too quickly. So we have to be able to work with people. We have to be able to curve and swerve and go from point A to point C through very, very different points on our lives. And that's the only way that the world is changing. As I talk to major corporations that are in packaged goods, I talk to major transportation companies, everybody is struggling. One of the things that we have set up in the last year and a half is an accelerator program. The Accelerator Program is where we are partnering with startups. We're identifying some very specific trends, things that we could never take on ourselves, and we're helping those startups grow. We're teaching the startups how to go ahead and build their business, how to tell a story, how to work with a large corporation. Because when I deal with startups otherwise, they come in, they get one chance to pitch, and they fall apart. So we decided to partner and teach to the community how to do business with a large corporation. Last week in Atlanta, we announced that we were partnering with Turner Broadcasting, and they're joining the program. We have 4 other corporations that are joining the program. We're opening up multiple locations around the world to gain access to the technology, to be able to partner and give back, and in order to try to make this journey go a little bit faster. We don't know how we're going to get there, but we do know that if we don't keep trying, that we never will. The area of mobile is very unique for us as well. We deal with over 300 different advertising agencies creating campaigns on a global basis. Everyone thinks you can come to the Coca-Cola company and sell to us and go ahead and you're going to have a big contract, but the reality is there's 300 advertising agencies that are spread out across the 200 plus countries that we do business with. And you start looking at the product managers that we have for each one of the products, it becomes a very complex sale to a company such as Coke or many of the others. So we've decided that we're going to actually create a mobile lab. And we're going to start trying to do some things with the mobile lab, such as creating SDKs. The SDKs will be then given out free to developers as one of our visions, letting developers create their applications on top of the SDK, combining the information with the Coca-Cola company's information to try to do something different. Some of this is done for commercial reasons. Some of this is done for the community. And I'll give you an example of a couple community things that we're doing that we just launched last year, for example, that, again, is about collecting data. We took one of our machines, actually 2 of our machines in Africa. We went into some villages that did not have internet connectivity. We worked with British Telecom, and we're now providing educational services into the communities in Africa by using the machines as a base station with satellite technology that is attached to them. We're collecting the data. We're looking at what the kids in the community are looking at. And what we're finding is that as the children start getting educated, a little interesting social dynamic is occurring. Now some of the parents in the villages are actually getting a little bit concerned because the education level of the children are starting to rise above that of the parents and of the village elders. So we're now having to look at other ways of the social impact of technology. But again, we're taking that data real time. We're analyzing every page that the students are looking at. And they are controlled and contained to certain things that have educational purposes. But again, it's a big data play. They're interacting with their cell phones. They do not have computers. Many of them have tablets. But what we're finding is that even in the far-reaching points of Africa, everybody has a smartphone. So again, more mobile devices. In Africa, for example, most of the payments are now done on smartphones. How do we capture this data? In many ways, Africa is ahead of the United States. We have to figure out how we can get the data because the U.S. has POS systems, Africa doesn't. So this is all about data. It's all about partnering. The mobile devices, the cloud are all important to us. I believe if everybody works together, you can help us, we can help you, we can give back to the community. It's a great opportunity. I want to thank you very much for giving me a few minutes and hope you enjoy the show.